Well, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and this is going to be part 4 of the Jaguar XJ Coupe, the restoration. Now, I mentioned in part 3 just at the beginning that the engine had gone off to Tom Lenthall, Jaguar Land Rover specialist, and that is the workshop I'm in now. So I've come down to Tom's to have a look what's happening with the V12 engine since we discovered that crazy oil leak at the back of the flywheel, that rope seal. That meant that the engine needed to be rebuilt, to be stripped, the crank had to come out, etc. And it's how much other work we're going to do beyond making it oil tight again. Lots of temptations, where it's actually the engine build is just over there. I just had a look. There's a Liter 7-litre manual sat beside it, and Tom is well known for doing race engines, big bore conversions, injection conversions, all sorts of tweaks you can do on the Jaguar V12. I'm trying not to get carried away, but it has the engine stripped over there, so I'm going to go behind the camera and let's go and have a look what's been going on. I have to say, some interesting stuff in here already. I do like this XJ40, which I've never seen on track day tyres. I might have to find out a bit more about that. Beautifully restored E-Type 4.2, really like the colour of that. And then this Liter, 7-litre Liter, not a normal thing you see in a workshop. And Tom, hello.
Hello, Harry.
This is my engine in bits.
Lots of bits.
A whole lot shinier than when it arrived with you.
Yeah, it was definitely deteriorated. Seen a bit of action.
It had. And this, as I say, part of this rebuild, the engine was never on the menu, so this is all a bit of a surprise. And that is the engine hiding under there, and then it's no longer. Do you want to just take that off?
Want to have a look?
I'll have a quick look. This is the good bit.
Yeah, this is the bit that's sort of going in the right direction.
Look at that. Look at that. That is so smart. You've been very busy with that, haven't you? That really
yes.
Didn't look anything like that when it arrived. So this is pistons and liners, and, and it was the battle of the heads, isn't it? It's trying to get the heads off it. You were
the cylinder heads. Always a problem to get the cylinder heads off, just due to corrosion.
Yeah.
The nature of a wet liner.
Yeah, I'm going to just wander down there.
Yeah, the nature of a wet liner means that the studs get water coming up them, and it's a metal stud with an aluminium cylinder head, so you get corrosion and they get stuck. Yeah. And they don't want to come off.
Yes.
I actually think we were very fortunate with this engine. The heads didn't give too much resistance. And the studs are in good condition, which is a real, good news. The
thing about this car, when I took it down to Keith's, it ran great, and it always sang, it always started on the button, so I was hoping that the engine wasn't going to be an issue, but I couldn't live with the amount of oil that was spewing out of that rope seal, so hence why we did that bit. So this wasn't meant to be to happen, but then you looked inside the inlet manifold and you said, I think you've got blowback past the pistons, wasn't it? I think
there was a lot of oil inside the inlet manifold, so the engine was clearly breathing heavily. I mean, that's what they do. Yeah,
it's just odd. It never blew smoke out the back particularly. I think it must have been breathing to the top. And yeah, you really got onto this. I can't remember how long has this engine been here now. It's not very long, is it? About a month.
Yeah, I can say 4 weeks.
4 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
And the transformation already is great. But you have something you have to show me on the cylinder heads, I think,
yes, it's not,
this is the not so good
progress, but it's not all good news, unfortunately.
Yeah, explain what's going on here.
Right, okay, due to the nature of a wet-lined engine, the head gaskets...
Yeah, they weren't pretty when you showed me those.
They corrode quite badly.
God.
So
it wasn't actually using water, but yeah, that is a very tired head gasket.
Yeah, it's definitely definitely
past its best. We think this is original, don't we? We think this engine hasn't been touched, or
a couple of things that I've seen on it make me think that it has been in bits before. The conrods had been marked.
Right.
To say, to give an order of where they were lying. So I actually think that this has been in bits before.
Oh, interesting.
But a very long time ago.
Right.
Yeah, certainly not. Judging by the gaskets, they're 20, 30 years old easily. Got to be. you know,
just over 100. I'm trying to think how many miles it's done. I think it's over 100,000, 105,000 miles, something like that.
So, you know, it wouldn't be unusual for a car, you know,
Yeah.
an engine like this when it was, I don't know, say 7, 8, 10 years old, if a head gasket went, you know, it may well have been bits, but it certainly hasn't been apart for a very long time.
Okay.
I think that's fair to say.
And just the head design also, ought to just mention that flat head. This is the engine that you tune, isn't it? Is the flat head?
Yeah. Okay, so back in the day, we wanted the flat head because that gave us higher compression. Okay. When the HE came along, that's got a combustion chamber within the cylinder head,
rather than in the piston as it
whereas
is
on your engine, the combustion chamber is effectively in the dome of the piston.
Yeah.
People always said that we're using the flat head because we can get higher compression, therefore that's good for power. In actual fact, in today's world, because we can get so many different pistons made so easily and make better combustion chambers, there's actually not a lot in it.
Oh, isn't there?
I've seen just as powerful V12s
have
with
you?
HE heads on.
That's interesting. So that's a myth bust, really.
Well, it's you know, you can do so much now compared to what you could before. However, back in the 80s, 90s, if you were building a race engine, and you know, budget's always an issue, it's far cheaper to get a flathead than it is to try and rework a HE. So the flatheads were definitely the head of choice.
Well, if you take those gaskets off, you then showed me a shot that I couldn't believe. Look at that. Tell me what's going on here.
So this clean aluminium you can see here is where your combustion chamber is. Where the corrosion is where the gasket has deteriorated, and then it has started corroding the aluminium of the cylinder head. And it looks a big mess.
It looks a proper mess.
It looks disaster, in fact. However, we can fill this in and then reface the head. So it's not a problem. That's perfectly savable, perfectly usable. Unfortunately, this particular cylinder head, which if I just bring it out, this cylinder head doesn't look as bad. However, the corrosion has gone right close to the exhaust valve on this cylinder here, and this cylinder here is actually worse. Now the problem we have is if I put a gasket on it and lay that down there, you can see that the corrosion has gone within the combustion chamber.
I hope you can see that.
And then what's going to happen is as we get combustion, it's going to start
the head
potentially
gasket's
burning.
Go,
it's not going to last as long.
Flip.
Again, we can put metal in, machine and face. The problem I've got is it's so close to the exhaust valve, heating it up in that manner, we then can potentially have issues with valve seats falling out, which we don't want.
No.
And I do favour using the old valve seats because they're in perfectly good condition. They're 45, 50
they look
years
mega,
old.
Actually,
they're
nothing.
Good. They've cleaned up really nice. Well, we'll
go through the rest of the engine. I just want to see what else there might be after the cylinder heads. What's under the bench then?
So we've basically got two boxes here. One with finished bits.
Very pretty bits. Look at those. Never looked at those. That's lovely. That's absolutely lovely.
Onto the bench again. It's all cleaned out. Vapor blasted, painted, and then we then sand all this back to get the aluminium finish and then put the stickers on.
Looks really smart.
So and the rest of that box is basically full of your components that
the bits to go on.
All black bits, all painted bits, and things like all new cylinder head nuts.
Dome cylinder head nuts. You got those?
So
brilliant.
So that we, there's no point doing all this work and make everything lovely and then put the old stuff back on. So we replace it all.
And just looking down there, is that water pump and things like that? Are you putting new ones of those?
I'm just about to come to that. So what I have in here is effectively stuff that I haven't got round to looking at yet. So, water pump. Now you'll be shocked to hear I don't really want to reuse that.
I'm not surprised.
It's functionally it's probably okay, but
look at the state of that.
But for the cost of a new one, it's I'm not going to use that.
I'm staggered at the corrosion going on this thing.
Well, again, this is what was all going on inside your engine. This is why the gasket got as bad as it did. You know, so it's all part of the same system.
It's changing antifreeze, isn't it? Stop
Yes.
the corrosion, particularly this is an all aluminium engine. I mean, I did change it, but obviously it had sat too many years
This has
before.
happened before your ownership.
Yeah,
Right, power steering pump.
yeah,
That's actually working in good nick. We're just going to clean that,
okay,
and we'll paint it and make it look nice.
right.
Alternator.
I think I've put a
Again,
new one on.
yeah, it seems okay. We're going to give
Yeah.
that a clean and we'll put that
Yeah.
back on. That's not a problem.
Yeah,
Things we do have issues with,
bloody wiring.
wiring loom.
I know.
And
I've ordered a new one.
I know, but we can't get it in time, can we?
No.
So I'm going to redress this and recover it and clean it
It's
and
not
make it look as nice
pretty.
as possible. Okay.
Oh, yeah, we know it works. This is all to the injectors and stuff here, isn't it?
Yeah, but look, where it's come apart, you know, like I've got terminals that have come off,
Right.
and the white, you can feel the white, it's rock hard.
Yeah. What a
Now
pain.
this is my biggest concern.
Oh, God.
This worries me.
Distributor.
This worries me more than the cylinder head.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So
They are weird. big
45, 50-year-old fuel injection
Yeah.
systems.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult to get hold of the parts now.
Yeah.
It's really complicated. This board here
Yes.
has all the fixings have broken off of it.
Yes.
So I can refix
This
that.
is a trigger, isn't it?
This is this is a trigger board. So what it
yeah.
has inside here, it has a little switch in there.
Yeah.
It's a read type switch from memory,
Yeah.
and it has two of them
Right.
opposite each other. And as the rotor arm goes round, in the back
Yeah.
of the rotor arm we have a magnet.
Right.
And what it does, it triggers, hence the name trigger board, triggers the switch.
Right.
The switch then sends a signal out, and that then tells the fuel injectors to fire.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not very happy with the condition of this.
No.
And again, I totally agree with you. It was working perfectly well when it came to bits.
Yeah.
Now that we've taken it to bits, and you know, I'm not so sure if we're going to be so lucky when it comes back. It's once you disturb this stuff is when it tends to misbehave.
Yeah. Well, they're known anyway. I mean, you just look
No,
at it. It's
yeah,
heat
yeah.
Robinson. It was the early days of
Yeah.
systems.
I stopped about 5 or 6 years ago telling people I could guarantee that we could fix this,
Right.
because it was such a headache.
Yeah.
And we take a slightly different route with the cars now, and we change it.
Which is over there, isn't it? Do you want to
Yeah,
just
sure,
have
yeah,
a look
yeah.
at your new bits over here?
This is a 6-litre manifold. Now I'll put it on the bench so we can see it a little bit better.
TL Performance. What's TL stand for, I wonder?
Yeah, everyone guess, yeah. Very last of line, 6-litre V12 inlet manifold.
Okay.
The great advantage of it is we can use, it's much easier to use modern injectors.
Right.
There are other options for that, which actually we've got on the lister.
Right.
But we do these mostly to drop them onto V12 E-types, because the Strongberg carburettors are such a pain.
Oh, of
Ethanol in the
course.
fuels, people don't use the
Course.
cars so much, the cars don't
Forgot they're a
start.
carburettor. Yeah.
They're a carburettor car. So we initially did this for that type of conversion.
Okay.
Although I have to say, the very first one of these I'd done for a client with a coupe,
Right. Oh, was it? Yeah.
because we had 48 injectors cleaned and to
No.
get 12 that worked.
No.
And then 3 months later, a couple of them went down. So then I said, look, let's do this.
Yeah. This one. I'm waiting for a favour. But the trouble was, I had an engine that did run fine.
Yeah.
And if we just go over to my manifold, this has actually been modded anyway, hasn't it? This is
Yes.
done by a previous owner. A really neat trick.
The manifold is an original
Oh, it is.
original type manifold
Right.
that has been modified to improve airflow into the engine.
Right. And how have they done that?
Okay, so what they've done, you can't see it from the top, but what they've actually done is they've cut it through here,
Yeah.
but then underneath it's very apparent.
Right.
they've
you got
cut it
that
through
well
there.
Right.
And then you see these little screws.
Yeah.
What they've actually done is they've put in trumpets.
So if you look down there, so there's 6 trumpets on each manifold that
Correct.
they've built into there. I think this is bigger as well. It was all about airflow, in my understanding. It was a combination of putting the trumpets in it and increasing airflow.
Yeah, it increases airflow and more turbulence, so therefore you're getting a better
Yeah.
fuel air mixture. So it's the air and the fuel are mixing together better.
Yes. Well, I'm really quite proud of these. I'm hoping we can do it, but I can understand the resistance with the distributor, isn't it? Is the really tricky bit.
What, that and the injectors.
Oh,
because I haven't shown you your injectors yet.
Oh God! Right, have you got those?
I have, yeah.
Oh.
These are your old injectors.
Yeah. You can tell me that they're not so fantastic then.
They're not. When we've taken them apart, I've got, you know, the rubbers are deteriorated and they've broken, so they definitely, you can see them, they're cracked and split, and that's no good.
No. Right.
Also, they don't look particularly fantastic, but, you know, to be fair, they were working and they were delivering fuel and, you know, all that kind of stuff. There's a little pin in there, and that's a little needle jet, and it opens and shuts. Electronic solenoid in here, we fire it, opens, and it delivers fuel. So really, I think we need to, I need to send these off and get them cleaned and new rubbers put on, because these rubbers...
That'll just burst in the engine bay, won't it?
Well, if they fell apart like that, just trying to remove them, then, you know, what's the condition of the rest of these like? Yeah, I just don't think it makes good sense. All of these will just get replaced.
Yeah, replaces.
Yeah, so...
What was just on the pistons? Do you want to just show me what was the wear on the piston like?
So again, it's just, you know, it's where it's been going up and down the bore on the firing side. As you get the explosion in the top of the head, that's forced down the bore, and the pressure goes against it there, and it, you know. That's
time for change, isn't it? Looking at that.
You know, that side's.
God. Yeah. I'm amazed. Having just done a Lamborghini V12 engine, I'd much rather buy 12 pistons and liners for a Jaguar engine than a Lamborghini engine, because they're what was it, about £100 a pop, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, they're not that expensive. Yeah, £1,000, £1,200.
Yeah,
gets you a set of
amazing.
Yeah, in this box here.
Oh, more plated. Love
I
just love plated stuff. It's so satisfying.
Yeah, and it's not really relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, but it's done on.
And again, I was going to show you this. I haven't finished doing that yet, but that's your oil cooler hoses.
Oh right. Oh yeah, we're going to update the oil cooler, because you said
I've got a new oil cooler for it as well. Yeah. But the hoses are all split and cracked, so I literally just go down the hydraulic place, you know, and they put a new end on it. New clutch. And your flywheel's all cleaned up yet. Been refaced and balanced to the new clutch.
Great. Yeah, just it always gets me when you're doing an engine like this. Just it's got the induction sides being freed up. The exhaust manifolds, well, there they are, cast iron, not the prettiest of things. And then he showed me this, and I couldn't resist really. And you've had it ceramic coated.
Ceramic coated as well, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any horsepower from that, or is it just a cosmetic thing, do you think?
Well, there is an argument that says you've got modified inlet manifolds, so you're letting stuff go in quicker, but you weren't doing anything about getting it out. So
no, okay. And I'd just love to have a look at the other side of the engines. Let's have a look at that. God. Oh, I see. Oh, we're all right. I will add photographs now of the crank in situ. I just wanted to have a look. I quite like the British Leyland sort of stamp on all the bearing covers, wasn't there? Right. God. Okay, so this odd, isn't it? So this is quite flat. So this is the extended sump is only at the back, not all the way along. I suppose. Oh, that's got to clear that suspension.
Yeah, that's it's got
isn't it? Yeah.
Front cross member.
This
is where all your oil reservoir, if you like, or some, you know, and in the bottom of there you've got a pickup pipe which draws in the oil and into the engine.
Right. Now this is the whole reason we're doing this change. Is that bit, isn't it? Because everything's aluminium apart from that steel bit.
Yeah, and this is what houses your rope seal.
Right.
Which is literally a piece of rope.
It has to be a two-part seal, isn't it? Because you can't get it past. Right. And that's it. That's the bit that causes all the trouble.
Yeah, and it sits in the housing. And then what we do is we tend to put that in oil and let it soak overnight to soak up all the oil.
Yeah.
And then we put it into the housing.
Yeah.
Down in here, one in the block. One in this particular housing here.
Right.
And then we literally insert this, which is what you call a sizing tool, and rotate it in the direction of rotation of the engine.
Okay.
Okay, and then we bed it in. So that effectively...
Oh, you have to do that first?
Yeah.
Oh, I see, because it goes up that taper.
Yeah, that's it. So you start there and you squeeze it in, and then once and it takes ages. So you literally just rotating it, a bit more oil, and it's just a bedding in procedure. You're effectively lapping in the rope.
So that's one for the apprentice, is it?
Yeah, well, no, actually, you're probably better off doing it myself.
Oh, really? How are you? Right.
Yeah, you know, I remember when I was an apprentice, you know, I would have my boss hanging over my shoulder and making sure I was doing it properly, you know.
And that basically compresses it to the right size. That's how it works.
That's it. Yeah, and it's a sizing tool. That's
never seen that.
And it's and the straight six engines have it. The V12s have it. A lot of time these days we do convert to a lip seal.
Yeah.
But again, it's a lot of machining and it's a lot of this and a lot of that, and didn't really have time.
No.
But the rope seal's fine as long as it's bedded in properly. It's fine.
Right.
That's the.
What a test. Right. Okay. And the Leyland stamp there. There's a Leyland stamp on the block crank.
That is a V12 crank.
God, that's a big lump of metal.
Yeah, it is a big lump of metal. You're quite right. God. Oops. What I want to do.
Wowee. Right, so
that's the correct way around. Yeah. So that effectively is sat in there.
God, that is. And what did you have to do to mine then? Mine was all right, wasn't it?
Your crank was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phew.
Had standard bearings.
Did it?
So it was a standard crank, standard bearings. So all we really did was clean it and polish it.
Right.
Didn't need any machining.
Amazing. Great, because they look quite big bearing surfaces to me on that crank. That is not messing around.
In fact, the only thing on the engine that I've really changed, although it's really an ancillary, is I've put a new crank pulley on it. Because inside here you've got a rubber damper, what you call a harmonic damper.
Right.
And the rubber had separated and it was starting to fall apart.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only thing that I've done.
Well, that's brilliant. Good. Cams all right.
Cams are all good. We've put new timing chains in, new timing chain tensioners. But they're serviceable wearable parts.
Yeah.
You'd always change those.
Yeah.
New bearings. The oil pump was good. We checked all that. That's all fine. And the rest of it's just a massive cleaning process.
Yeah. And you're ready for the heads to go on this. It's unfortunately the wrong way around, but when it was the other way around, you timed it all ready. This is ready for the heads to go on.
This is ready to have cylinder heads fitted.
Right. Valves are going to be reused then?
No, new valves.
Oh, new valves. Right.
In fact, I've got the old valves here, funny enough.
Right.
Again, by the time I've cleaned them, recut them and all the rest of it, it's a valve, I can't remember how much a valve is for this, about 7-8 quid or something daft like that. Right. They're not expensive.
So 12.
So yeah, I just put
24.
just put new ones in, like what I've got in here. They're just brand new valves.
This brilliant.
It's just
brilliant.
so much easier.
So much easier than Lamborghini. Yeah. Well, that's really, really good. I'm very tempted just to have a little look at this Lister while we're here. Tell me what spec this one is then.
This is a 7 litre normally aspirated Lister manual. They did do a twin supercharged version, but this is just the normally aspirated one. This is also a quad throttle body version.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't make many of these. These are very, very, the low production that Lister did on them.
Right.
I believe 25 or 30 cars, so I'm told, of the Lister Le Mans, of which some are supercharged, some have got quad throttle bodies. There's a lot of debate of whether the quad throttle bodies really make any difference. Some people like them, some people don't. And this is just going through a recommissioning. Wow. And again, the big problem we had with this was 30-year-old fuel injection components.
Right. Trying
to make them work and get them repaired just wasn't happening. So we've gone to more modern injectors. Yeah. We've got rid of the distributor.
Yeah, you got the coil.
We're on coil packs.
Down there.
And then we make up the wiring loom. And then down inside the car, we've got a standalone engine management system we can program. And
amazing what you can do now, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a far easier route to go than trying to repair the old stuff.
Yeah. If I'd said to you, can I have a different crank? So 7 litre is the ultimate size, isn't it?
Yes.
The crank.
Yeah.
How much would it cost me for a 7 litre crank for mine? Is ballpark.
To take it to 7 litre and get the pistons and the liners and all the stuff, you'd probably chuck about another, 8 to 10 grand at it.
8 to 10 on top. And a rebuild is around 10, isn't it?
Yeah, rebuild's around 10. So if you wanted to go 7 litre, you've got a budget 15 to 20 grand.
Not on top.
In total.
So the crank isn't uber expensive. This is probably a bad time to have this conversation. I've spent enough on this engine, but anyway. So is a 6 litre as a first step? Or?
Okay, a 6 litre. You have a 6 litre crank. Yeah. Because that's
standard part.
And then you can buy pistons. You can buy specialist pistons and liners. but they obviously cost a lot more money. You know, some of the guys that I do racing with and do a lot of V12 stuff, you know, some of them are, well, I know they're, they say that the engines are 5.5 litres or, you know, a 6 litre, but, you know, I'm not convinced.
The way they're going down the straight. So,
yeah.
I mean, what I don't know, you know, it's old horsepower, it's a different sort, it's not as impressive is today, but a 7 litre is good for 500 horsepower, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we've got a racing lister with a 7 litre in it, and that was quoted at 650.
With a supercharged?
No. Normally aspirated. Yeah, Lister only made, as far as I know, one proper full-on XJS racer with slicks on and all the rest of it, and it's sat in our storage unit.
Wow.
And it was raced in Canada, and that's quoted as 650. This allegedly is 550, but again, you know,
it's torque, isn't it?
It's the torque that really makes a huge difference. And
because my Zonda was 7.3 litre 550 horsepower, but it was the torque that threw you down the road.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of a V12 is, you know, all the people that race V12s, and I've raced a couple of V12s, you know, horsepower is mega, and oh god, it's great to talk about down the pub how much horsepower we got, but the reality is you know, when you've got a big cylindered engine, you know, the torque is phenomenal, and it's a torque that gets you out the corners, and it's a torque that wins races. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? Well, that's why I always loved this engine, the 5.3, my XJ Coupe, was actually, it had torque, but it also liked to rev. It didn't feel strained at all, going 5.6. It was so different to the XK engine, completely different character. There's something fairly torquey just coming into the workshop now. I don't know what that is, but that's excellent, Tom. Well, I'm really chuffed with what I've seen. And thank you for turning it around so fast as well.
No, we're definitely moving in the right direction.
Well, there you go. That was a detailed look at the rebuild we're doing on the Jaguar V12 engine with Tom Lenthall. I rather wish I hadn't asked that question about the 7 litre conversion. I was surprised that it wasn't that much more for the build to do a 7 litre rather than a 5.3 litre. But anyway, I want to keep it standard. I do want to keep it standard, otherwise it would be all in the sea of doing different injectors, different inlet manifolds, the rest of it. It tumbles on when you start modifying cars, and I'm trying, fairly determined, just to keep the modifications car being the suspension and the manual gearbox. But I hope you enjoyed this video and a look at what's going into this restoration. Next time we'll probably be back at Keith's, and this engine maybe will be delivered. I don't know, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, well, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.